blue lights, man.
Oh yeah, we had extra no cars.
Yeah, there's hella no cars in there. Like there's a whole.
Has anyone ever had troubles finding a job? I know I have. A big reason for that is outsourcing. Employers giving jobs to people overseas. With outsourcing today in America, 7.3% of the population is unemployed, but that percentage could be lowered if outsourcing wasn't such a relevant way of getting cheap labor out of workers overseas, when people are walking past people every day with no money and no jobs. People in America are losing jobs, and that is affecting us negatively as a country. We are trying to stop the loss of American jobs and the destruction of families. We are all students in college, and we all have one goal in going to school, and that is to find a job. You can't find a job in our industries if they're being sent abroad. Since my audience is a group of very talented and educated college students, it seems very fitting to persuade them in an issue that pertains to them directly. Outsourcing is something that will affect you in your pursuit of a career after you're finished in college. Being that when you first get set up in your career, you'll be getting started as in one of the lowest positions of your company. Those are the jobs that are being sent abroad, that are being sent abroad for people who can do your job for cheaper. So if you think outsourcing doesn't pertain to you, think again. The jobs that people are looking for are being sent to places like India and given to people through the internet and through call centers, and they're coming from people who barely can speak English because their currency is less valuable than ours, and they work for less and are more likely to be employed over hardworking Americans. To truly understand outsourcing and how it affects you, you must know the problem about it. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of manufacturing jobs have been reduced by more than 3 million due to the work being moved overseas, Whale in 2005. Also, Forrester Research of Cambridge, Massachusetts estimates that the number of service jobs moved outside of the U.S. will reach 3.4 million by 2015, Associated Press 2004. The cause great concerns to workers in industries being affected by the move. And according to a report that outsourcing by working Americans, manufacturing employment collapsed from a high of 19.5 million workers to June 1979 to 11.5 million workers in December 2009, a drop of 8 million workers over 30 years. And between August of 2000 and February of 2004, manufacturing jobs were lost for a stunning 43 consecutive months, the longest streak since the Great Depression. Manufacturing plants have declined sharply in the last decades, shrinking by more than 51,000 plants, or 12.5%, between 1998 and 2008. These stable middle-class jobs have been driving the force of the U.S. Economy for decades, and those losses have done considerable damage to the communities across the country. A key factor to that could be the U.S. tax code, which, as Seth Harlem explains, rewards companies for making investments abroad and leads them to shifting offices, factories, and jobs abroad, even if similar investments in the United States would be more profitable absent the tax consideration. In what might be an underestimate, the University of California study concludes that 14 million white-collar jobs are vulnerable of being outsourced offshore. These are not only call center operators, customer service, and back office jobs. These are also information technology, accounting, architecture, advanced engineering, design, and news reporting, stock analysis, and medical and legal services. The author notes that these are the jobs of the American dream and jobs of upward mobility to generate the bulk of the tax revenues that fund education, health, infrastructure, and the Social Security system. With every problem, there comes a solution to fix what is somewhat broken, and the solutions are key for saving our jobs. Free trade policies have been the bane of this country for the past couple decades. Thanks to the government's policy, it is no longer profitable for businesses to employ Americans, so they do not. Removing tariffs while letting other nations subsidize or otherwise undercut our domestic products have created a massive trade deficit and left us with fewer people employed today than in the year 2000. Placing tariffs back on the foreign trade can be a good start for a solution towards more domestic jobs. By the U.S. specializing in all of their industries, it would create more jobs, more jobs to their own people, and protect us from outsourcing or any problems with any other countries that are created from doing business overseas. Many people, including government representatives, and advocating legislative approach to stem the outsourcing tide. Bills have been introduced in Congress, and at least four state legislators have been put restrictions on foreign call centers and limit outsourcing for the government contracts. Representatives claim that they can't afford the loss of consumer spending and tax revenues and the additional government expenses incurred by unemployment workers. The U.S. government has the right to impose tariffs and agreements in the products of the industries, and just as labor unions have the right to organize and strike if necessary to protect their jobs. Outsourcing is a claim policy issue that has depriving people of jobs and work all over the U.S. and has to come to an end. There are many problems with that comes with many solutions for people like you. And if you want to stay employed for a future whole duration of your employment period, outsourcing is practically a crime that is being committed by companies, and it needs to come to an end. With all of these solutions, we can help the percentage of unemployed lower and still affect the economy, not affect the economy too much. Helping those people with no jobs living on the streets find homes and jobs. Help outsourcing become outdated.